Hi, I'm Alice from Learn to Knit Online. Today I'd like to show you how to handle a dropped stitch on the purl side. Now there are two different ways to do this. The first way I'm going to demonstrate is going to include a crochet hook. So I'm using the same size crochet hook as my knitting needles, but if you had one that's slightly smaller, that totally works as well. If you go much bigger, then it gets a bit tricky. So let's use this one first. So let's imagine I go to purl my next stitch, and yet somehow it drops off my needles, and look, as I pull, it's running away. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a deep breath, not panic, remember it's just knitting. And the second thing I'm going to do is find the cleanest, closest stitch that I can rescue. And by that I mean secure it, get it safely onto your needle. And once you have that, you can take that deep breath. We're no longer in crisis and we can work out the best way to handle this. So in this case, I'm going to use a crochet hook. So what I'm going to do is, now that this is secured, this stitch, I'm just going to pinch it at the bottom so it's not going to go anywhere. And I'm going to introduce my crochet hook. I'm going to pop it onto my crochet hook. And now you can see I have 3 bars of yarn that each need working in order to restore this purl stitch all the way up to the top and back on my left hand needle where it belongs. So the way I'm going to do this is by reworking the yarn through the stitch. Now, because I'm purling, I need to make sure that that yarn is coming from the front of my stitch. So I'm going to go into the stitch, I've moved the yarn to the front, and with my crochet hook I'm going to capture it, and my fingers are going to get involved here, pull it through. And there you can see it recreates a purl stitch. Once again, I need the yarn in the front. So I'm going into the stitch, I'm going to capture the yarn, drag it through, and that recreates the purl stitch. Last one to go. And in fact, on this one, I'm going to show you how to do this without a crochet hook. So same premise, pick up the stitch, rescue that. There's the big bar of yarn, the strap of yarn that needs knitting through. And the way I'm going to do that is literally fish this strap of yarn through the stitch. So if I recreate that again, I have the yarn in the front of my stitch and I'm going to literally move my needle towards it and fish it through, so that I've recreated the purl stitch, and then pop it back onto my needle and it's ready to go, ready to be worked again. For more knitting tips and tricks, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel or check out my website learntoknitonline.com, where you can book online interactive classes with me or individual self-paced video classes. Happy knitting!